It's a beautiful Saturday. You could have been doing something else today. So just getting here was the first part of it. And you're hearing from, literally, when I walk in and I listen to Tim training, I know one thing's for sure is he's walking the walk and just talking the talk. Other companies might have people come up and train because they've earned a certain position or they have earned a certain amount of money and they've been around and they happen to be a friend of whoever's running the show. We don't. We only put people up here that are actually working the business so that if he's training on something, he's training on something that he does on a daily basis. And he is actually, when he says it, he means it. So we'll always have that integrity of what we're doing. But as I sit up here and I'm looking around, I just wonder, as I was starting back there and just walking up, I try to get a feel for a room. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because the reality is I'm listening to Tim and the training is right on. I mean, there's only so much you can train in network marketing, quite frankly. How many people in here have experience in direct sales before, network marketing? Just let me know. Most of the room, right? A lot of you, some of you don't. Well, here's the reality. It's not rocket science. This isn't really, you can't come to a training and get one thing and go, now I'm going to make it. Now I'm going to do it. When he's talking about the why, I've done 3-hour trainings on whys. I've done whole weekends on just the why. I do an RD university, a regional director university. When you achieve that, we'll do it here in the UK as well. We like to bring you in for a weekend and talk to you about how to train the trainers and things like that. And as we do it, it's all about the why. Everybody comes in thinking they're going to get some kind of secret on how to build or what's the right technique. And all techniques are important and stuff like that. That's true. But it's really all about the why. And so as I walk up and I look out there and I see some of your families, I hope that you're getting that point. Because the reality of our industry says that if you look to each side of you, one of the 3 of you is not going to be here in the next month. In the next month. 2 months from now, 2 of the 3 of you are not going to be here. One of you out of your row might make it 6 months. That's how rough this industry is. Let me tell you why. And let me tell you why it's so imperative that you decide that you're going to be that one person. Because a company can be built around one woman or one man that decides they've had enough. A company can be built on that. A company can literally flourish because one person says, I'm going to be that example of success that it takes for people to actually build a company. One person. It could be you. You could be that person. Since this is a training, it is an actual training, correct, Tim? Tim, training, right? So we can talk money? Is that right? I don't want to get arrested or anything. So this is a training. Everybody knows it, right? So we're not trying to project incomes or anything. I just want to give you some examples. You guys want to hear some examples of some of the money that's been made? Because that's usually what talks, right? So we had people at our meetings back in a year ago, even 2 years ago, that we sat with. I'll give you an example of Clifton and Grace Wright out of Toronto, Canada. Some of our TPC members. Clifton and Grace, you guys will get a chance to meet them. They are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Clifton, I used to worry that he couldn't say his name when we bring him up on stage. He would forget his name. He was so afraid. I mean, literally forget his name. I'd be whispering it to him, Clifton, you're Clifton. And then he'd say, I'm Clifton. And then we'd kind of get him going. And now he gets up and trains at our national and international events in front of thousands of people. And it's funny, his wife will get up, though, and she'll say in 30 seconds, she gets so excited, her voice goes so high, and she starts talking real quick, but she always says, it's changed my husband forever. And I think it also changed our perception. Of course, when they first started with us, I bet their first 6 months, they probably didn't make $5,000. And you can imagine the first 6 months of Momentous was not a pretty sight. It was brutal, tough. I even wondered what I was doing there. And as we built through that, they kept saying, I want to learn, teach me something. I said, it's not teaching you something, it's when you decide that you really want it. And you're willing to sacrifice for it. And they're like, okay, but what do I say to people? My technique's not working. So forget your technique. It's about you deciding that. They just fought me on it all the time saying, there's got to be something. What do you say when you talk to people? I said, well, I say it different from everybody. I really am. I'm a very forward person. So when I sit with somebody, I say, hey, do you want to make some money? And they go, what is it? And I say, it's about 10 minutes for me to explain it to you. No, but what is it? It's about 10 minutes. No, I mean, what's it about? It's about 10 minutes. That's all it takes. It takes about 10 minutes. Do you have 10 minutes? No, I mean, tell me what is it exactly about? It's about 10 minutes. Can you tell me the name of the company? No, I'll tell you that in the 10 minutes. Should we start now? You got 10 minutes? So I'm just like that. When somebody says, well, I'm not going to do it unless you tell me, say, goodbye, gone, right? And so I would try to teach that to Clifton. That didn't work so well, as you can imagine, right? Clifton walks up and, hey, hi, good to see you. And I see, talks about family, faith, fun, talks about everything that's important except the business, right? Because he was so nice. And then it was about 6 months in, and I remember they called me. It was November of 2010. And they called me, and Clifton said he had had enough. And he started crying on the phone. Don't tell him I told you this. Grace is on there, he's on there, and he starts crying on the phone. He tells me he's just sick of his job. His wife one of them got laid off. They didn't have money going into the Christmas time like they wanted, and he was sick and tired of it. And I could tell that something had snapped in Clifton, right? Because he was just talking. Grace wasn't talking, he was talking. And the way he was talking to me was powerful. And so he just said, that's it, I've had enough. Today, when we look at it, they're the #1 residual earners in the company. They have well over the 5 figures in residual income every single month. They're one of the largest organizations. They've made, I would say in the last year, they probably made, I'm guessing, $700,000, I'm guessing, in the last year. And all of this they've never made money in that, never made it in network marketing. And it wasn't because they learned a technique or they went to a training. It was literally when Clifton and Grace said, I've had enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm watching everybody else in my life live like this. And it changed their energy. It changed who they are. All of a sudden, they became so committed. They didn't miss a meeting. They didn't miss a training. They said they got there first. They did whatever it took. Whenever you ask them, and you guys will experience this hopefully someday, they'll say, what do you want me to do? Just tell me what it is. They don't say, oh, I'm a TPC member, I'm a national director, getting ready to go international director. They just say, tell me what you want me to do. They didn't worry about what code people fell into. They just said, who's the next person we can go help start their business? They just started moving forward. And so that was their day. And I'll never forget, I know it like it was yesterday. Tim Sparkman, one of our guys, getting ready to go international director any day. Every day he's like, did it do it? Did it happen? He's getting ready to go international director. His first 12 months in this business has made literally the kind of money people only dream about in his first 12 months. But it wasn't because when he started, he was a rocket. I mean, he started and he could say the same things from stage because he's been around. But there was a day, you remember the day, Tim, when you said, I sat him down and I said, Tim, listen, I know that you have the capability to be the biggest and the best. I know you can do this, but it's going to take more than you're giving. He said, what are you talking about, man? I'm giving. I'm really doing this thing. And I told him, I said, no, you're not. I said, I'm talking about the kind of giving that you can't fake. I'm not talking about just because you show up. I'm talking when you show up, you're fully engaged. I'm talking about going as late as you possibly can, getting up as early as you can. I'm talking about making the kind of sacrifices that people say, what changed in Tim? What happened? It's not just like he's the normal Tim. He's not. He's totally different. And I'll never forget the day that he called me and he said, I get it. And I'm doing it. And that's what I'm going to do. And from that day forward, he's become one of the leaders in our company. Refugio Rodriguez, top earner in our company. He and Nubia. From day one, because they've had experience in network marketing, in his first day, he sat there and he said, hey, just tell me. And this was in California. We were in Irvine, California. It was December 13th, I think it was, 2010. He started with the company. As he's standing there with me, he said, Andy, I just got to know, is this real? And the whole time we're doing a training, we were doing a Super Saturday training type thing. There were probably 30 people there, 40 people there. And he's walking around in the back of the room. I see him walking in the back. And he's just walking the whole time like this, talking about talking to himself. He's just walking there like this, just shaking his head and his hand on his head. And he's like, yeah. And I said, what's wrong, man? He goes, well, I'm making $5,000 a month in this other deal. And if I leave it, it's all I've got. And I put 1.5 years or 2 years into this thing. It's all I've got. What do I do? I can't do it. And he started pacing again, walk away from it. And so he walks up and he goes, is this real? He goes, because if this is real, I'm going to give it everything I've got. And I remember turning to Mike Adams, our senior vice president, saying, that guy's got it right here. That's the kind of guy I'm looking for. And so I put my arm around him and I said, buddy, you will never want to know where I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. This company's going to be there with let's go for it. And he said, that's it, I'm going to do it. Over the holidays, from December 13th to January 13th, he made just under $8,000. Over the holidays. Everybody know that the holidays don't work, right? I mean, it's tough to work network marketing. That's what everybody says. Somebody forgot to tell Refugio. He was doing it in California where all we had was DirecTV, which we're not the only company that was marketing DirecTV, or there's a satellite TV company. Every street corner has DirecTV. And so at the time when he was making this money in his first 30 days, I kept getting emails from other people in California saying it doesn't work in California. I said, somebody better tell Refugio real quick, because he's making money out there. From that day forward, from the moment he got started, just happened on day one for him, he never looked back. Today, he makes the money that he used to make in that other company. It took him forever. He makes it in about 1.5 days into the month of a normal month. What used to take him a month to make, he makes, if you start on a Sunday, by Monday afternoon he's made his money. You can figure out kind of what he's making. He makes a lot of money in our company. Every single one of the TPC members have that. And yet I can watch their business. I'm talking about the best of the best in our company, which any of you could be, because it's open, man. We want you to be a TPC member. But every one of them, I could watch their businesses by what they're making, how's it going, based on how focused they are on what they were trying to accomplish, how emotional it is in their gut, how their heart leads them, and not just their brain on what they're trying to build. You say, well, what does this have to do with a training? This is the entire game. This is the whole thing of what we're saying. As Tim would say, it's your why. Y'all heard that accent, right? It's your why. It is. Does everybody believe this?
Yeah.
You know, if we didn't teach you one other thing, if you didn't hear one other thing about what I'm going to say when I talk about the company, where we're going, and all those things, if all you had was your why strong enough in your mind that this game's done, it's already done, and you could make the kind of money we're talking about, we have already designed a club. It's the $1 Million a Month Club, because this is an unlimited opportunity. But most people, when they sit and they listen to Momentous for the first 100 times even, they don't really believe that they can make that. They don't think it can happen to them. Now, you talk to our national directors, international directors, you talk to our TPC members, they're all thinking they're a $1 Million a Month Club person, because now they believe, because we've earned that trust. We've earned that commitment from them. They know now what it happens, how it pays, that it actually is something that can happen for them. But I don't expect you to feel that way about Momentous. I don't expect you to even commit to our company. Now, this sounds a little bit different than you've ever heard from another CEO, I know. I'm not asking you to commit to Momentous. I'm really not. Because you don't know Momentous. I mean, it's our second meeting, for goodness sake. Nobody in this room's gotten a check from Momentous yet, right? We haven't done the things that we have to do yet to earn your trust. But here's what I want you to commit to. And this is the most important thing I'm going to say today. You have to commit 100% to your why you're in this room. Whatever brought you here today that you want to get rid of. That's what you commit to. Other companies want you to buy into them. I don't. I want you to buy into you. I want you to buy into that. If we do our job, if we provide the type of opportunity we're talking about, if our common sense approach to services works, if our comp plan pays like it's supposed to pay, if we have an office like we're supposed to have, we're supposed to do these things which are, I know 100% that we're doing it because we're setting it up. We've just spent tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds doing it. I know what's coming. But for you, you don't know that yet, but we have to do that. So together we'll earn that trust about the company. But for you, your why you're here, it better be big. And it better be, and this is what is exciting to me. I watch people walk in a room like this, and I get to know you and say, well, if I can make 1,000 pounds a month, and I was talking to some ladies, I don't know if they're here right now, but they were at the meeting on Thursday night, and I said, what would really excite you, right? There were three of them standing there, and the first lady answered immediately. She said, if I can make 1,000 pounds a month. And the other two ladies, I could tell they were like, oh, you said too little. It doesn't sound impressive, like, that's not impressive enough. You're supposed to say you want to make much more. So the other one said, no, don't go stupid, but say more, Like, and she goes, oh, no, but and she looked at me, she goes, really, that's what I want. Like, I want 1,000 pounds a month. And I thought, well, that's an honest answer. That's an honest answer that she doesn't believe what we're saying, like, in the bigness of it, but she's being realistic, which is great. So I looked at her other friend, and I said, now you tell me what it is you want, thinking that she's going to say a big number. She goes, I want 3,000 pounds a month. The thing I love most about this, and I'm going to tell you what gets me exactly why I can't sleep and why I wake up early, is when somebody goes from thinking they want to make 1,000 or 3,000 a month to all of a sudden they go, if they don't make 30,000 in a month, they're wondering what's wrong. If they don't make 50,000 or 60,000 in a month. And what happens in Momentous, which I've never seen happen, and I've been a part of 2 companies that set records. My experience has been phenomenal. I lived like the dream life in network marketing as a representative. And yet I've never seen it happen. What most people dream about in a month, our representatives are making in a week. I sat with the CEO of one of the top companies. You all know the name of it. If you've ever been in the industry, you know the name. And I was at this event in April, and it was a bunch of CEOs and top executives, and everybody's sitting in there looking at each other like, who's the competition, and they're waiting. Success Magazine puts on this thing for the industry. And so I'm sitting over there, and a couple of guys come up to me from these big companies, and they're friends of mine, because I used to be a part of their company, and they said, so what's your top earner making, right? And so I always talk income in weeks. So I was saying, I happened to say at that time, I think it was 110,000 for the week. So I said 110,000, and they go, oh, that's pretty good, that's pretty good, that's pretty good. And I go, what about you guys? And he goes, 340 or 350,000 for the month. And I said, oh, the month? Yeah, I said, I didn't know you were talking about month. And they go, what do you mean? I said, it was 110,000 for the week, so it's 440,000, for the month. And he goes, seriously? I go, yeah. I said, prove it. That's what the one said. It was the chairman and the president. He goes, prove it. I I go, prove what? And he goes, pull it up on you got your phone? Yeah. He goes, pull it up let me see it. I said, oh, all right. Pulled out my phone, pulled it up. It was 128 for the week. And they said they couldn't believe it. And they said, well, how do you pay? You can't pay that. And this is the feeling that's out there in the industry, that we're ruining the industry for everybody else. Another company, the CEO quit the company that he was trying to build, had built it for 2.5 years with his dad and his brother, and said they had to shut it down, and somebody else bought it. They're trying to build it now. But he said, he was in my office a couple months ago, and he goes, it's totally unfair, man. It's totally unfair. I go, what's unfair? He goes, Momentous. It's not fair. I can't compete with Momentous. I said, do you realize that's my job, is to create that unfair advantage? It's our job to say there's a feeling that used to be a part of this industry. There used to be that people, when they joined network marketing, they believed it was the unlimited potential of life. They believed that they could go out and it would be the type of moment where it would change them forever if they were willing to work and sacrifice. But along the way, so many different companies have come in and they've been underfunded or didn't have a true intent to build something that it's tarnished our industry. It's made people think then that they'll just settle for something, like it's a job. Network marketing is a horrible job. It's a great mission to be on in life. And I'm going to say it again. It's a horrible job. It's a horrible job. Nobody wants this as a job. If there is a fixed amount of income you can earn in network marketing, I would say it's not worth it. Because it's so emotional. There's so many ups and downs of this. There's so many times you're going to be so excited. You walk out the door today going, I found it. You're going to call your cousin or your brother or whoever it was, and you know for sure they're going to be your best rep ever, and they're going to chop you right at the knee. And you're going to be like, what just happened? You're going to want to throw up on yourself for real. It's going to be a sick feeling. And then you're going to that's going to test your commitment. But it's always so ups and downs, up and downs, that if you could only make, and some of you go, man, I'd take that on. If you could only make 50,000 pounds a month, it wouldn't be worth it. You're like, whoa, wait, say it again, Andy? Like, is everybody going to make it? No. I'm just saying if it did have unlimited potential, it wouldn't be worth the headache. There are easier jobs out there. But this is hard. It's hard, and it's hard, but it's worth it. It is so worth it when your life is different. Let me give you a couple examples. Some of you that were there Thursday heard briefly, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago even, I was flat broke. I'm talking about the kind of broke that, I wasn't going to settle though, so don't think it was like I didn't have opportunities. I did. I could have gone to work for some other companies, but once you're already in the mindset of doing something in such a way, you can't go back to working. So I'd be the worst employee on the planet right now. I couldn't do it. You would never want to hire me. Because I think unlimited things. So I didn't want to go work for a company and be one of their speakers. I didn't want to go just do trainings. And some of you are going, that's good you didn't. I didn't want to go do trainings. I didn't want to just go speak in front of groups. I didn't want to be a part of a company that I didn't feel had the unlimited potential to change people's lives. And so I just kept holding out. The longer I held out, the worse it got in my house. I mean, I'm talking about broke. My 15-year-old daughter's in here. She said she never realized it was so bad, but that's because her mom and I tried so hard not to show them. You guys know, some of you know what I'm talking about. That feeling of, you just don't know how you're going to keep making it. This just has to get better. And then it seems like everything I touched was turning bad. It didn't seem like it was good. It's like everything was going against us and what we were trying to do. So we ended up losing our house, losing our cars and stuff. You don't have to start Momentous if you're broke. Hopefully not everybody's ever been through this, but some of you know what I'm talking about. It's just that we had no money whatsoever. So to go build in network marketing when you're broke is very difficult. It's tough. And it's because you're trying to tell people about an unlimited opportunity, but what you're really thinking is, I wish I could make the rent or the mortgage, or what am I going to do next week when I run out of money kind of thing. It's a tough game. I know it. So I said, let's going back to that, feeling that, being a part of that, being so broke, feeling this. I remember telling Amy one night late when she was up and she was crying to me, telling me, what are we going to do? It's time to just take something. She said, who do you think you are that you don't have to go get just a regular job? It's time for us to do something. And she was right, man. She was right. It was like, okay, I got to humble myself, go to work, doing whatever it is that comes along. And so then I made some calls. I said, well, I'm going to do some consulting. And now, I still had good friends in the industry that got me jobs. I consulted for 53 companies over about an 18-month period. It means these companies paid me to come in and tell them, what their color scheme should look like, what their comp plan needed to be changed or whatever. Most of the companies were trying to be, during this time frame, the next Monavie, juice companies. And they were everybody starting it up. And after about the first dozen, I started realizing real quick, I'd go to people and say, how much money do you have to invest? And they'd say, $1.5 million, or $2 million, whatever it was. And I'd say, no, I mean, you can pay me, I'll take your money, but you're not going to make it, is what I was thinking. Because it takes a lot of money to really start a network marketing company, a lot more than people think. But I would do this for these companies, and every time they would end up saying the same thing. Almost every single time they'd say, well, why don't you, now that you've done this for us, why don't you come over and help us build? And every time I would say, well, you have 20 things that I gave you should do to be a real network marketing company that can go unlimited, and you've only chosen 5 that you're going to implement because the other ones are too expensive or just not, you just don't want to do them, right? Because along the way, these companies and the owners kept thinking the company should win or the owners should win, and it was never rep first. So I just never did it. I wasn't going to do it. It didn't work. So as I'm consulting and I'm doing this, which I was not happy about, it had paid us a little bit of money, but I was so far under, I couldn't breathe anyway. So during this time frame, I'm doing something, I'm away from the family, coming back, and I'm thinking, when is this going to end? What do I do next? And I get a call from my buddy Chris Domholm, and he says, meet me. He goes, hey, can we have lunch? Now, he lives in Dallas. I lived in Fort Myers, Florida. And he said, can we do lunch? And I said, sure, man. When do you want to get together? He goes, I said, are you in town? Because I'm thinking, you don't usually come. He said, hey, meet me tomorrow at noon for lunch in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, okay. Now, he had started Ignite, which is an $800 million network marketing company. My only friend that had ever started anything like that and built it from scratch. So when he says, let's go for lunch, I go, yes, okay, I'll meet you. I didn't have a lot of money. I bought a cheap ticket to get up to Atlanta and walked in for lunch, he was already sitting there waiting for me at this table, and he said, sit down, I got a question to ask you. He said, I needed a yes from my wife, and I needed a yes from you, and if you say yes, then we're going to start a company together. I said, why would you do that? Why would you leave this company you already started, you already have? I said, look, man, the one thing I've learned, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush kind of thing. I said, just hang on to it. I don't think you can do it again. And he said, let me explain Just Energy to you. And so for 20 minutes, he explained this public company and how their drive and who they were and the spirit of what they were doing and the resources they had and what they wanted to achieve with this company that we hadn't named yet. And he said, will you do it? And I said, yep, yeah, I'll do that. So then a whole ride home, on the plane ride home, I had to go tell my wife that we were going to not join the network, we're not going to get money from somebody, but now we were going to start something from scratch again, which had broke us in the first place. And so as I'm flying home, I'm thinking, how am I going to tell her this? And I walked in the house, and I looked at her, and I said, baby, are you happy? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, are you happy? She said, with what? I said, no, are you happy financially? And she said, come on, what is it? You drunk? What is wrong with you? Of course I'm not happy. I said, did you marry me because you thought we were going to have just a normal life? From the time I met her, I said, we want to do something great financially. I want to be able to help people. That's always our whole thing. I didn't want to just have to try to help myself. That's how I felt. Like I needed help. Forget helping people. I had to borrow money from my mom, who works at J.C. making $25,000 a year. I was borrowing money from her. So I'm so far beyond what we had started our life together for. And I said, are you happy? No, I'm not happy. Okay, great. Then we're going to get happy, but it's going to take us a couple of years to do it. Here's how we're going to do it. I explained what the company was going to be. I actually named it Momentous. Chris let me name it. We named it Momentous, and we took off. From that day, we started. We launched April 17, 2010. When we launched, I had $9,900 in the bank. I was in Toronto, Canada, watching every penny I was spending, standing in front of 71 people, 40 left, 31 signed up, even when it was free. We started doing meetings. Every meeting I sat in front of somebody, I thought to myself at some point, if they only knew where I was financially, they wouldn't listen to my first word. If they knew where I was, if they knew that bill collectors were calling my house, that we had disconnected our phone. My kids kept saying, Dad, what is that called, that 800 number? I said, wrong number. If they'd only known that my house, for 2 years I lived there wondering when they were going to come take it, when they were going to kick us out. If they'd only known, I would sit and I would talk to these people about how hungry I was. And then they would finally say, someone would say after 10 or 15 minutes, what are we talking about here? What's the name of the company? What do you do? Because I wasn't even talking about that. I wasn't talking about, I would talk about me. I'd say, I'm going to build this thing. I'm so sick and tired of being on that. You know what I'm talking about? Here we go. We're going to build this. And I'm going to go build it. I'm going to work every day. And I'm going to do it. And they'd be like, whoa, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? For $300, you can get started with me for 400 or whatever it is. You can start with me. You can work with me. Man, put me to work. Here's what I'm going to do. That's the kind of fire I had. I had people signing up and going, oh, the name of the company's Momentous, as they're signing the application. And they didn't know the name of the company. Okay, and no joke, I did a training for about 40 people on a Saturday in Toronto, and half the room didn't even know that we were selling electricity and gas. And they would tell you, I got started because that guy just seemed like he was going to make something happen, and I just wanted to go along for the ride, right? And so that's how we started. Every day I would do that. I told you guys Thursday, my first check was $50. I had been gone 6 days that first week in Toronto, staying at a hotel. I found the cheapest hotel by the office. And I would stay in there, and I'd eat 1 or 2 meals a day. Obviously, things are better, right? Now you can tell me. And I'd eat 1 or 2 meals a day, small meals. And I would come into the office early, and I'd be there. I had to find a way to get in the office. So finally, they were giving me a key, because I was just a rep at the time. And they gave me a key, and I'd be there before anybody else. For the security guard, I'd walk in, and he'd say, hey, Andy, hey, how you doing? And I'd tell people, come to my office, come to my office. You got to meet me for breakfast. I'd have breakfast meetings. I'd go all the way, and I'd leave at 12 or 11 or 12 at night. And on my way home, I'd be prospecting people. Let me tell you, you can scare people in Toronto when you do that at midnight. I walk up to people and go, are you hungry in life? They'd be like, oh, please just leave me alone. Please don't take my money, right? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? I'd ask people all the time, are you hungry? What are you, Burger King's still open, people would tell me. Are you hungry? That's what I'd ask them. Are you hungry? A person that's really hungry financially knows what you're asking. It's funny. People, I say, I'm hungry. What do you got? You know, it's like, here we go. You got to meet me tomorrow at my office. I got someone to show you something. And I would do presentations where I would literally get physically charged in the room. I would be sitting at a desk like this. I had a desk there in an office that people thought was mine. It wasn't. And I would sit there. I said, come on in. Come on and sit down here. My secretary's gone for the day. You know, like, set them down on this thing. It had nothing on the walls, nothing on the thing. It was just me and a piece of paper, a white pad. Because I didn't want to show them stuff. We had no credibility. We had no examples of what we had done. I knew what I'd done in my life, but they didn't want to hear about the last couple of years of that. So all I talked about was where I was going, what I was going to do. And I would physically get on to people and start doing it. I'm 6'4", 270 pounds. It was moments where you could feel people pushing back like, please, just don't hurt me, sir. And I would tell them, do you want to do something big in life? Because I do. And somewhere along the way, I lost my way. And I can't take care of myself, so I can't take care of anybody else. I always wanted to give to church. I always wanted to give to people that needed it. I wanted to be one of those people in life people thought, man, they deserve that success. They're the right person to have success because look how they spread it around. And somewhere along the way, I've put myself in this horrible position, but I'm not going to stay here, and I want you to go along with me. And all you have to do for $400, that's what $3.99 is what it costs in the States. For $400, you can buy into what I'm saying, and you're going to get swept up right along with us. And I want you to be a part of it. Are you in or out? Can you imagine that moment? Not hearing anything about the comp plan, not knowing what we're selling or anything. Are you in or out? And some people would say, well, thank you very much for nice having you here today. Good see yourself out. Thank you very much. If somebody's standing out there, tell them, come on in. I tell them. Well, no, wait. I said, no, sir, I'm looking for somebody who says yes to that question. You hesitated. So when you're ready to say yes, come on back sometime. But for right now, we're done. Thank you very much. The door's right there. And people would literally get upset at me. And I had people come sit with me after I put them in. They would get trained, and they would go, I thought you only did that to me. I can't believe that's the way you really are. I said, we're talking about life or death to me. We're talking about going home every Saturday night when I go on that flight. I was thinking, my family is underachieving. My children they're not getting what they deserve. My wife, who I love dearly, is not living the life she deserves. So when I was flying home, and I would fly back and forth, I had this intensity about me then. Because I was on a mission. When Tim talks about me being up late and going to bed, that's because I was sick. Sick with my life. Sick with that I had put my family in that position. I didn't blame it on anybody else. I'm just not one of those people. I think it's up to me, if it's going to be, it's up to me kind of thing. And so when I went to work, and when I do that, just like you're going to have to do, you're going to have to decide that it's that time. Along the way, we found the Tim Sparkmans. We found the Refugio Rodriguez's in Nubia. We found, the top earners, Marty Hale, who was one of the top earners. Let me give you an example about Marty. Marty Hale, when we started, we were launching in Texas, Marty had this incredible group of people that he knew, some of the top earners. And, some of the top earners in our company today. And he knew all these people, but Marty, the way he was approaching them was like business, like always looking great, always, just suited up and everything, which is awesome. I like that. But he was acting very professional because he didn't want to be, he didn't want to insult anybody. Now here comes me. I'm ready to insult everybody. I am. I'm ready to say in or out, end of story. In or out. That's in or out. I'm not trying to make friends in Momentous. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here. You guys are going, wait, this is taking a turn. I'm not. If you're here to be friends, good for you. I'm here to make money. I'm here to build something. And to build something means you've got to determine what it is before you start. Determine the end now. And I wanted to be financially free. So if somebody said no to me, I didn't feel bad. Man, I felt bad if I didn't show somebody how hungry I was. So I started building, and I started building with Marty. And then the first couple of days, all of a sudden, he's like, I'm not doing that. I got to change some things. I got to change it. He goes, I see what you're doing now. Man, he goes, you're going for it. I said, is there any other way? Because I lived my whole life that way. I lived my whole life, my whole career, trying to be the cute one, the good one that never upset anybody. Everybody liked. Everybody liked. I always didn't want to upset anybody. If I did a training this big, I wanted everybody saying what a great training it was. How I hit on everything they wanted me to say. Now I'm looking for a few people to go, I'm in. The rest can leave. Because they're going to leave one time or another anyway. I'm talking about the people that say, I am sick of tired of living my life the way it is, and I will do whatever it takes morally or ethically to get it done. Those are the people we're going to build Momentous with, just like we built it in the States. So we're doing this, and we're building along that way. I'm doing my end of the bargain. It was very difficult at the time. I'm not trying to act like it was great or anything. I'm sure there are much better network marketers out there, but I was as hungry as anybody's ever been. We're building along, and all of a sudden, we know that the corporate office needs to change. So the guys at JE come to me and say, hey, we want you to take over the company. I literally sat them down and I said, look, you don't understand what you're asking me. I am not the kind of person you think I am, because I'm always nice to those guys, because I'm not recruiting them, right? So I told Ken Hartway, I said, look, literally, if you ask me to do this, I'm bringing the same energy I bring to the rep field to corporate office, and that's going to change things. You're not going to like me very much. And I said, I don't play games. I don't believe in this big corporation stuff. I said, I want to get this done. So if you really want me to be your president and CEO, you got to be prepared for that. He goes, that's exactly what I want. I said, you sure? He said, yeah. So when we got started there, the day that we started, the actual day that we started was August 4th of last year. I started as president and CEO. When I say we, is because Mike Adams became the senior vice president of the company. He was here Thursday with us. Jen Lively became the chief operating officer for the operations, and we took off. Let me give you an example. I see Lynn Flores in the back. She's part of an organization that is exploded since that day. Prior to that day, there's a group of guys, Willie Flores and Saul Hernandez, who are not here, TPC members. Willie and Saul had 373 people in their organization on August 3rd. Today, it's over, I think, 14 or 15,000 people since August 3rd of last year. It's August 4th, they took over. Because they had been in for 8 months prior, not making anything, but kept believing what we were going to do. And then when it got right, it took off for them. Because they were hungry. And I'll never forget the day for them either. Because when they flew in, they wanted to talk to me about the business. And they start talking about how they do presentations, how they set up the room and stuff. And Saul was telling me all this trainings that he's talking to me. I go, stop. You're wasting my time. I said, are you hungry? Said, yeah, we're hungry. I said, no, are you hungry? By the time we were done, both of them were crying. Both of them were telling me it was that moment for them that it took off. It was that moment. Not the training that was given, not the idea how they set up the room, which this is a very nice room, by the way. It's the moment when you decide that this is your time, that you're going to do whatever it takes. You're not going to find reasons not to do it. Like, I have so many people. Right now, I was just looking on the way here with my daughter when we were riding in the car. I get all these emails from people who quit. Now, we have literally thousands and thousands of people, close to 10,000 people a month join right now in the U.S. and Canada. So I get probably 10 a day, 15 a day maybe at the most, where people quit Momentous. Maybe they go to something else that they can make money quicker, but it'll be gone in 3 months, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I get every excuse in the book. I get excuses where people say, my pet died and I have not been able to recover from it. No joke. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I get them where they say, my wife has me redecorating our house. I just don't have the time to do this. All I want to tell people is, you don't have to send an email, just quit. I know, you just quit. It was whatever the reason was, you quit. But here's the point. At some point, you're going to have to find a reason to stay. And it takes one good reason to stay. That's your why you started the business. The moment you start looking for reasons to quit, there are plenty of them. Matter of fact, I'll make a deal with everybody in this room. The day you ever want to quit, just call me. I'll give you a good excuse, and you can use it. You don't have to think of your own. But if you want to stay, if you really want financial freedom, if you want what we're looking for, what we started this journey for, to do something different, then your why is the reason. And that's the one you have to look at. Tim Sparkman, being a TPC member, the only TPC member that's here right now. That's why I'm talking about him so much, because I love him to death anyway, my buddy. Refugio Rodriguez, Marty Hale, I mean, any of the Williams, whoever it is, Clifton and Grace. When you talk to them, they've got lists of issues because they have huge organizations of tens of thousands of people. They have so many reasons they could quit, it's ridiculous. And they never do. Because all they stay focused on is why they started, where they're going. They're not looking at where they've been. Can you imagine that we're not going to start perfect? I mean, we're talking about in the next couple months, we're launching a company that's going to go all the way around the world with this common sense approach to services, meaning that we're going to use services you already use. So we don't have to talk you into keep using them. We don't have to train you on how to use them. You already use the services that we bring. And then you're going to get paid residually on those. And as we go around the world, we're talking about using in different countries, in different languages, different systems, the electricity and gas in people's homes where it's available. There are going to be problems. There are going to be challenges. Heck, we can do everything right and there will still be challenges because we're dealing with outside vendors, outside companies. Banking, let me give you another example of that. So we had in the last, obviously with 9/11 when it happened back in 2001, it changed everything forever. Well, now all of a sudden this last year, there's an agency in the United States government that if you have anything, a little hiccup in your credit or anything, for some reason they hold the check at the bank to verify that you're the person you say you are, right? Because they don't want people funding any kind of terrorist stuff, I guess. Well, we have all these representatives that are from different backgrounds, and so we probably get 20 or 30 a week where the bank says, well, we see that you can't put it in, but it didn't go through. So they think we didn't pay the thing, but we have to tell them, here's the government email that comes to us and to them that's stating your money's being held by the United States government until you verify who you are, whatever it is. Well, that doesn't help our cause, does it? When somebody calls up and goes, you guys can't pay the check, why did the check bounce? Then people start going, the check's bouncing? Well, no, it didn't bounce. The government's got the money. They're holding it. They held mine one time. I'm the CEO of the company. And so as we're dealing with that issue, I start thinking to myself, here, we've done everything right. We're paying more people faster than anyone in the history of the company. We have spent millions and millions of dollars. Our commission runs up to a couple $1 million a week. A couple $1 million a week. That's what we pay. We're basically a 1-year-old company. We pay a couple $1 million in commissions a week. Think about that. And yet, we might have 10 people, and that's not our fault. It has nothing to do with us. We didn't do that. And yet, that's a hiccup. We have to come into the United Kingdom, and we've got to go to work here. We have never done this before, right? Our company, Just Energy's over here. We're making all the inroads. You can see how it's so frustrating because we don't have everybody. We don't know everybody. We don't know how the system works. So as we're working through the system, it's going to be hiccups. There are going to be challenges. It's going to be any excuse you need to quit. There are going to be times when you're going to want to launch. I know some people wanted to launch Thursday when I showed up. We said August 24th. So that's a good reason to quit. Just being honest. But you got to stay and you got to fight through because exactly what happened in Canada, in the United States, is going to happen here. And it's going to happen as we go around because we're not trying to rush it. We're not trying to be anything we're not. We're not trying to say that you have to think we're the grandest and the most incredibly, look at that. Look how everything and all their support material is so beautiful. Their CEO is so brilliant. No, we don't care about any of that. We're hungry. We're hungry. The company's hungry. The company wants to grow. We're willing to fight it out. We're willing to slug it out. We're willing to get into the trenches and keep battling. We're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. We're just going to keep our little turtle pace. We're just going to keep growing and keep going and keep growing and keep going and keep growing and keep going. And as we do, the families that buy in with us, the families that go to work with us, the families that do that, you have an opportunity like that's not come along. I'm telling you, this hasn't been here before. A $3 billion public company has said we'll take everything we've got, everything we've created, everything we're about, and we will bet it on Momentous. We had a company out of Italy call, and they said, we can generate all the electricity you want. We just want Momentous to represent and sell it. That's out of Italy. So we weren't even looking at Italy, and all of a sudden we're like, well, let's go to Italy sometime, right? A European company sees Momentous growing over there and says, that's who we want to take over. That's who we want to sell for us. That's what's going to happen here too. As we grow and as we show people that we care, as we show people that we're here long term, then it starts to create its own story. And the more people in this room that make the money, more people will believe they can make the money. The more people here that set themselves free financially, think about what that means, by the way. Think about what it means. I told you I was going to give you a story. So last month, the College World Series for baseball is in Omaha, Nebraska. And one of my buddies calls me and says, hey, I'm going over there, we're taking our son, because we had moved, my family moved to Dallas, Texas in September. And my 13-year-old son, AJ, his best friend and his dad were going to, he said, we got some tickets, you guys want to come up for the day? Well, I couldn't find it on the flights. I'd been out of town, I was coming back. And so I said, AJ, we're going. But I couldn't find the flights to go do it because it was just crazy. So I chartered a plane, this jet. And as we pull up there and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like getting emotional as I'm pulling up to the place with this beautiful jet sitting there. And we walk around and the lady goes, is it just you two? We go, yeah, it's a big jet, right? We're like, yeah, it's just us two. We're going to the game, coming back tomorrow. The guy's going to be waiting for us overnight. We're sitting there, and I took pictures of my son reading the paper, and he looks at me and goes, Dad, can you believe this? And I go, if you only knew how far we've come in 2 years. 2 years. 2 years I couldn't pay my mortgage. I lost my house, lost my cars. 2 years of fighting it out like that, to where all of a sudden my life is so different. My mother-in-law lives within 10 minutes of us. She lives because we take care of her. My father lives within 8 minutes, so it's the other way. He lives because we take care of him and help him out. Every single one of my closest family members benefits from the success that we're having, because don't you want to help people? Isn't that why we're all here? Isn't that the common value of really what brings you in? If you're the type of person where all you're thinking about is you won't last long and momentous. This is way too hard for selfishness. It's got to be something bigger. Now, our company, what we will guarantee here is that as we launch these services, we're going to get better. We have EMS coming. Does everybody know what EMS is? We're going to have it commercially and residentially. What it does, somebody's excited about the commercial side, huh? What it does is that it basically is like buffering on the internet. Have you ever seen that where it takes a while to buffer and then you can watch the video? Well, that's what this does. Basically, it takes up, stores the energy, and then releases it smoothly and takes the spikes out, so it can guarantee a reduction in cost to people. Whether they're your customer or not on the commodity, you can still save them money. It has been a huge part of the momentous story in the last year as we brought that on. It is a patented technology. We have it exclusively, and there's a written guarantee of the reduction, guaranteed 8%. Reduction. For commercial stuff, here's the reality. In a lot of cases, it's been much more than 8%. Residentially, we've been closer to 20%. And I told the guys that own that company, I said, can we bump up that guarantee and show them? They said no. But it's actually been coming in much higher than 8%. But commercially, what a huge deal it is. You don't have to know anybody. You just go in and say something, can I get a couple copies of your bills? Take off your pertinent information. We analyze the bills for you. And we'll send you back within a day or two. We'll say, well, you can save, let's say it's this building, and they spend, I'm just making up numbers, 10,000 pounds a month on electricity. Obviously, it'd be more right here, but let's say it's 10,000 pounds. And we'll say, okay, we're going to save them 3,000 pounds a month. And it's going to cost them 1,500 pounds a month to save the three. So it's actually a net $1,500 savings a month to them. So they'll lease it or whatever. And you, as an independent rep, get a piece of that $1,500. And let me tell you something. Why would they ever stop using it? Why would they ever stop and go, no, okay, we're ready to start paying more now on electricity? It's not like it's a commodity where it fluctuates. They don't care who the provider of the electricity is, but won't that be nice when you can walk in here and say, not only can I provide you this savings with this unit, but I can also help you with the savings on the electricity that we're offering here when we offer that, because we're going to offer electricity residentially and commercially as well here in the UK. We'll do that with gas as well, where it's applicable. So we have some things that we would never start a company to do, like we have M-Digital and M-Mobile, which are telephone products and services, but we wouldn't do it. I think it's pretty played out in the industry, but because we have so many reps that make so many calls, we can reduce their cost by helping them have these tools. So we put them in. We thought, if you're going to spend money on your business, you might as well get paid a commission back on it, right? So we put this into the rep tool. It's how we think. I always hated that when I have to use something all the time and you don't get a chance to get paid on it. We'll be doing that as we bring in the internet. We're looking for deals with satellite TV right now. We've got a couple deals out there. But we also have, in this, it might be the biggest thing we ever do. I don't know yet. It still is being ready to launch in the United States. We have something called M Games. And M Games is casual gaming. It's the video games that kids play. Well, now there's like a Netflix model where you, for a monthly fee, you can play all the top games for that. And let me tell you, and I know everybody in this room see the youngins that really play a lot of games, but when we talk about this with people, you as parents know kids that game, how would you like to get paid for your kids playing games, right? And as we do this, as this gets around, it opens up a whole nother age group of people to see Momentous. The 20-year-old, the 23-year-old, the 25-year-old that are out there that play games all the time. Now they have something to take to their friends and actually affects their life. And let me tell you, it's going to be a monster. And that one is going to be, you're going to get paid commission on it too. We'll bring that here as well. We have so many other things. Literally, the idea and where we're heading with it is that we want to own the home, which means that all those services that come into the home on a monthly basis or that people pay a monthly fee on, we want to have that. And then we want to bundle it, and we'll start the bundling process so that you will have packages to offer to people, to your customers, which takes them out of just comparing the cost of one individual item all the time. Now remember, this whole thing's driven by your personal reason why. That's what I've talked about. I heard Tim talk about it. We're going to keep talking about it. That's the most important part, because if you get a customer and you say to them, I can save you money on your casual gaming, there's no loyalty there. If you walk up to them and grab your sister or your brother by the thing, you pull them together and say, you know, I'm going to change my life, and all I need you to do is just, instead of paying whoever it is, pay this, pay us. And you're going to get the same thing you've already got. You'll get it probably at a discount, probably a little bit less money, but even if it's the same brother, sister, whoever it is, you're helping me, and this is my chance. And if you have fire in your eyes, if you have that commitment I'm talking about, you're going to get a customer for life. And that's what we want as a company. That's how we can pay you so much money to do it. And believe me, if you guys know anything about me, everything I want to do is to create momentum. So as we launch and the things that we do, we've got things in store that we're going to start adding and start doing that are beyond what you're thinking right now. Because we want people to feel excited. We want you to know. But here's your biggest opportunity of all, is that nobody's gotten paid yet. Some of you are going to have huge checks come the end of August. I mean, talking about the kind of checks that will create its own story, right? Everyone in here has the chance to create that right now. All of you have a chance to go out and create a story. And this is the last part of what I'm going to tell you. This whole thing's about telling stories. When people ask me, what do you do for a living? I tell them I'm a storyteller. Isn't that stupid? If someone in the air, you would think I would say I'm CEO or president. I tell them I'm a storyteller. What do you mean you're a storyteller? I tell stories for a living. What story do you tell? You want to hear my story? Do I have to pay you? No, the company pays me to tell my story. What kind of story is it? That's what I need to hear. It takes about 10 minutes to do it. What's it about? About 10 minutes. Let me tell my story. We're writing the momentous story. Your chapter in this book is still to be written. What do you want it to be? What do you want it to say? Joined and quit within days. I didn't actually quit. I just faded away. I just never did anything because I was busy. Because after I joined, I went on holiday and I sprained my ankle and I come back and my boss was a jerk. My wife didn't want me leaving the house at night, not being around the kids, and my husband, kept stopping me from leaving, thinking I was cheating on him. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. I told you I heard it all. Here's the reality. That you and your family need to decide this is your mission. That you want to be the kind of family that can give. You want to be the kind of family that people look at and go, look at them. Totally rock solid. The kind of family where you got money in the bank. That if tomorrow the economy crashed again, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Just for one moment, I want you guys, just please, I know this is hard for a lot of you because you're skeptical and maybe you've been through other companies before you have any money. Just imagine that it's payday at Momentous, which is Fridays, by the way. And when you woke up this morning, you checked your bank account and 20,000 pounds was put into that account. Some of you get excited, but some of our top earners would be devastated. I would get calls all day long about it. Matter of fact, most of our top earners don't go to bed until the deposit's in, and they have to look Thursday night, Friday morning, at 2 in the morning, and I get texts like, can you believe this? But imagine you got 20,000 pounds put in there. And then you live your life this week like you're going to do anyway, and then next Friday, it's 23,000 pounds. And then the Friday after that, it's 30,000 pounds. And then we announce that we're bringing in another service, and it really goes nuts. And before you know it, you have more money every single week than you spend in a month. So now you're saving money. And now you're looking at different cars. Now you just don't look at those nice cars and go, man, if I had that car. Now you're thinking, where can I go buy that car? I'm going to get that car. You don't just walk through Harris like we did the other day where everybody walks through like this because they don't want to knock anything over or break or anything because they don't want to buy it. I noticed everybody's walking through like this and real gingerly. And people don't want to even really stop and look at those expensive. We were eating lunch in there, right, which is like a college education cost. And we're eating lunch and I'm looking at the guy sitting next to me. He got a couple $100,000 watch on, right? And he's sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, that's not an average guy, right? But the average person in Momentous can change their life and be just like that financially. Here's the great part, that those values that we're talking about that are only ingrained when you've had hard times, when you've come from a different position where you believe everybody should be given the right to have an equal opportunity, when you actually know what it's like when you need help and somebody gives it to you, the impact that has on your life, now you're going to be the one that can do it. People like us should be wealthy. It can change the world. But here's the key. Before you can do that and help anybody else, you gotta help yourself. You gotta help you. You gotta make sure you can pay your bills. You gotta make sure that you get some money saved up. You gotta make sure that you are doing the right things in this company. I'm not asking you to believe in us. I'm not asking you to commit to us. I'm asking you to commit to you. And then over the next few months, the next year, the next 2 years together, then you can get your Momentous tattoo. Which is what it takes to be a TPC. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And then you're going to understand how much this company loves you and honors you. You're going to understand that you've never been alone. That this journey that you're taking with us it's so important to us as well as you. That we never want you thinking that you care more than we care. The most frustrating part about this is when we care more than the rep cares. I have made a commitment. I'll make it to you guys right now. Every time I've spoken, I tell people, you are the most important person in Momentous. You and your family are why we built the company. You're the ones that matter the most. The company doesn't matter the most. You are the company. Without you, the company doesn't exist. We'll honor that. We'll show you in every way we can that that's what we mean, and that's what when we're saying it, we're just walking the walk, not just talking the talk. But that takes time to build up. In the meantime, as we build that trust together and that commitment, do what it takes to position your family. What if what I'm saying up here I actually mean? What if this thing works over the next 6 months and a year? What if you do this business and it's the one? This is the one for you. That you fight through all the times when you can quit, and you have your legitimate reasons too, and you just keep going until you get it done. This is the one. This is what we created Momentous for exactly this moment. But you got to go to work now. This is what we have to do. There are great leaders in this room to watch. There are people that have done it before at other companies. There are people that are just seeing network marketing the first time. I don't care. This is an open playing field. If you want to be a leader, claim it. Get the job done. Help as many people as you possibly can. Lose yourself in other people, and their success and your success will happen. And before I get done, and this usually doesn't go over well, but it's in some places, other places it does. I really don't care. I don't know for the reason. This isn't Momentous. It's not being the CEO or president. This is just me as Andy McWilliams. And that is, every time I get in front of a group of people, I like to tell people that I'm blessed. I feel blessed. I am so grateful to my Lord that I pray to every day to help me physically. Some of you are clapping. Some of you hate me right now. But it doesn't matter, because I literally just don't want to meet my maker someday. And he's going to look at me and go, hey, I put you out by Heathrow, and you had 500 people in the room. You didn't mention me? The things that matter most to me have nothing to do with finances. Literally zero to do with finances. One of the most precious things in the world to me is my daughter in the back. You want to get me crying, get me going. Let me talk about my kids and my wife that even during the hardest times never even blinked, never cared. I watched so many of our family and friends break up, families be torn apart because of finances, that I made it a mission of my life. And one of the reasons why I'm here, and the reason why I'm not going anywhere, is because I want to help people that want to help themselves. And so I pray for that every single day, day and night on it. And that takes, and what I believe in my heart is that for this company to make it, it takes honesty. It means that you don't have to exaggerate what you're making, who you are, where you are. We'll take you just as you are. We don't want people lying about what they make on checks. We don't want people projecting incomes to people to try to get them started. You find people that are hungry, people that will take us for what we really are. Those are the people you build with. That it makes it a much lighter and easier business to build with if you're not doing it with any kind of deceit. The next thing is that, there has to be a humility. There has to be that we are willing to serve and help other people. And that starts with me. I feel like as president and CEO means I have to serve the most. And that's why I try to use every day as much as I can. But we have a great and incredible, the most amazing people that I've ever seen have been drawn to this business, just like I see in this room right now. But we have got to get the job done in order to make the impact that I think this company is destined to be. So it starts now. It's exciting that it does start. There are going to be a lot of moments where you're wondering, you're going to need prayer too to help you get through. We want everybody, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your race is, no matter what your gender is, it doesn't matter to us, a company, and the computer just recognizes your production, doesn't recognize your personality. But it does take production. And so if you want to know where I am, if you're looking for me, just look out for me. Because I won't ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. And whether that's train or gather customers, help sponsor representatives, there's nothing that I won't do to help you guys. And so please, make sure that we don't care more than you do about your business and getting right financially. And over the next few months, as we earn each other's trust and you know that we are sincere in what we say, I look forward to watching your businesses explode. I'll see you guys in a few weeks. Enjoy your Olympics, and God bless you.